lady. How's everybody doing this morning? I have brought a few things that I'm going to share in a few minutes, but first what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to tell you a little bit of some of the things I do, and I'm going to try to move quick enough to where we have time to ask questions and do a couple of different things. I only have 20 minutes, so 20 minutes is going to fly by once we get involved with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my timer, and when my timer goes off, we'll move into questions, all right? So first things first, my name is Krate, like a milk crate, and I'll explain why I have that name later, all right? So I'm going to write this on the board because I know, can you guys see on the other side there? Yeah. If I write kind of in the middle, can you guys see over there? All right. So I spell my name with the K instead of a C. Now the regular spelling is with the C. I changed it because my name, I wanted it to be special, so I put a K on it, all right? So my name is Krate, all right? What I do, I have three main jobs. I'm a DJ, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm a producer, and I'm a recording engineer.
Hey, that's DJ's name.
We do have a DJ in here.
Where's DJ at?
DJ.
How's it going? All right, so when we talk about DJing is short. So I don't know if DJ is short for something. Is it short for something? What's it short for?
My name.
What's your full name?
Daryl.
So the D is for?
Dale.
And the J is for?
Junior.
Junior. All right, so for me, DJ is short for Disc Jockey. All right? And what that means is, traditionally speaking, when people used to listen to the radio, there used to be a guy or a girl in the studio who would play records. So they would put the records on a record player, all right? And the record player basically spins the records in a circle, and there's a needle that picks up these little grooves, all right? So I'm going to pass these out quietly, share those with the people at your table. And you can feel these, and you can feel how there's grooves in the records. And these little grooves, when you look real close, have little notches and little things. So you can kind of feel them, and you can feel those lines. A record needle sits in those grooves, and each of those little bumps and different things wiggles the needle just enough to cause a vibration. That vibration then is picked up by the record arm, and it's amplified, which means made louder. And that's how we hear the music we listen to. So even though we have CD players and some people have tape players, and back before most of you guys, well, before all of you guys were born, we had what were called 8-tracks, which are kind of like before they had. So before they even had cassette tapes, they had 8 tracks. But one of the first ways that human beings were able to record sound and play it back numerous times were with what you're holding. These are called records. All right. So disc jockeys used to work in radio stations in different places and play these records for people to hear the music. All right. That then became another format of how people, when they would go out on the weekends, had entertainment. They would have people responsible for playing music during their parties and their get-togethers, all right? Now, my job as a disc jockey is basically the same thing. I go to clubs, lounges, birthday parties, weddings. Basically, anytime people want to hire me to play music for them, I show up at their events and I play music, all right? Now, even though I still use records, I don't use just records alone. I use a laptop as well. So these records here are specially made so that they read a tone or a sound that is produced by my computer. So instead of what used to be, I used to have one record for every song that I had. So if I had, who's your favorite DJ? Who's your favorite artist? Anybody who makes music that you listen to. Name one person.
Easy.
All right, so if you like Easy-E, right? I used to have a record that had an Easy-E song, or maybe had 2 songs, all right? Then the next person, say I like Rihanna. I had to have a whole nother record that had a Rihanna song on it, all right? Then I had another one for Jay-Z, another one for Beyonce, and I had to have all these different records for every song, not just the artist, but all the different songs. So when I used to go to events, I used to have crates or cases. Some of my cases were roughly this size, and they would each hold as many records as I could put in. So sometimes I would have 6 of those to hold the music that I would play for 3 or 4 hours. All right. Now, I can have my laptop, and I can have, right now I have roughly 45,000. I'll write that down. Right now I have roughly 45,000 MP3 files that have each is a song. But I only have to have one of these. My computer sends a tone that's read by this records, and as it spins, it places that tone along whatever place in the song. It transcribes it, or kind of shows it like you show a movie on the wall. Teacher presents on the smart board. Same thing. Basically, my computer is kind of like the projector, and it projects an image of the song onto this record, and then I can play it. And then my next song, computer basically tells the record to project the next song. So I can rock a party with just two of these and play any of my 45,000 songs instead of having to have one for each song. All right? So imagine me having to have 45,000 of these. All right? So that's part of what I do as a disc jockey. As a producer, I also make music. So I don't just play the music as a disc jockey. I also make music. So I have different types of music I enjoy making. I have different types of music I enjoy performing. But as a producer, my basic job is to take an idea that I have or someone else has to make it into a musical thing that we all hear. Sometimes I have artists come and sing or rap or say a poem or do a speech. Sometimes I'll have musicians come in and play different instruments to accompany my music. So I have all these different things or people that I have to bring together to form, a finished product, which is a song. All right? So the title producer, some people call it record producer. Some people call it a beat maker. All right, so there's a lot of different names or titles. But basically, my job is to take an idea and produce it, make it happen. All right? So that's one of my other jobs. Third job that I have is as a recording engineer. In order for a producer to have a song and an artist come together, at some point they have to be able to record somebody's voice, them saying words, them humming, singing, or a musician playing an instrument, right? At some point somebody has to record that so it can be turned into a song, so it can be played on a record, right? So that's another one of my jobs. So I have equipment in my house that allows people to come in and record their voice, record sounds, all right, or record instruments. Those also go into my laptop or my computer. I can then place them in different types of software or programs to allow me to then put all those different sounds together and produce or make a finished product. All right. Now it's kind of like, raise your hand if you like cake. I love cake. Who likes cake? Good. We all love cake. I wish I brought some. I didn't. I'm sorry, but we can still talk about cake. Being a recording engineer is kind of like baking a cake. So when you make a cake, you got to have eggs, right? You got to have a little bit of flour, right? Sugar. Thank you. You got to have milk. And I'm not an artist. I'm a DJ, so just make believe that you understand what I'm drawing here. All right, milk. So we'll say 2%. So we got to have milk, all right? So you put all those things in the bowl. You mix it up. When we're done mixing it up, before we put it in the oven, we got to make sure we stick our finger in the bowl, right? And lick the batter out the bowl, right? You guys do that?
Yeah.
Okay, you look at me like I was crazy, like I'm the only one who does that. That's the best part of making cake. Sometimes it's better than the actual cake. But anyway, so when you do all those things, right, put it in a pan, put it in the oven, right? And it comes out as one thing, as a cake, right? And even before you put on the icing, if we're doing a square cake, look kind of like that, or if we do a round cake, kind of like that, right? So.
That looks like a marshmallow.
Well, it does, but marshmallows are good too. So let's just pretend it's a cake. So once we have it as a cake, right, it's a finished product, right? So once I bake a cake, I can't go back and take the eggs out or the milk out, right? It's the same thing as a recording engineer. I take, say, someone who plays the guitar, and somebody who plays drums, and then someone who sings, and then someone who plays give me an instrument. Someone raise their hand. Yes, ma'am. Saxophone, great choice. Someone who plays a sax. So I take all those instruments and I kind of bake them in my laptop, in my computer, and it comes out as a finished product. But instead of it being cake, it may sound sweet like cake, but it actually becomes a song on a record or as an MP3. You know, you can play it in your phones or in your mom and dad. Some of your mom and dad's cars have MP3 capabilities. The radio stations play MP3s. All right. So once I have those instruments or ingredients baked together, it comes out as a completed song. That makes sense to everybody?
Yes.
All right. Cool. So we've talked about my 3 jobs and what I do. I'm going to briefly talk about what you all would have to do and the things I had to do to be able to do these things. So when we talk about life as a 3rd grader, I was a 3rd grader once, a long time ago. But I was, believe it or not, a 3rd grader at one time. And I remember us having things like, subjects like math. You guys have math?
Yes.
Cool. What about social studies? We have social studies?
Yes.
Sweet. Let me think about, what else did I have as a 3rd grader?
Science.
Science. Great choice. What about, I think they call it ELA or language arts. What do you guys call it now? Reading and writing? Okay, great. So reading and writing. Can we put those together? We're going to put those together because those are kind of important to put together. So when we talk about the skills as a 3rd grader that I have to have and continue to improve upon to be able to be a DJ, a producer, or a recording engineer, we'll start with math. It is very important as a DJ that I can count. And not just count, but I have to be able to do multiplication and division, addition and subtraction very, very quickly. Because we have what are called BPMs. BPM. And that stands for beats per minute. That is the number of times in 1 minute and 60 seconds that a beat happens in a song. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. All right, on and on. So the BPMs tells me how many beats per minute are in a song. So if I have a song that's, say, 65 beats per minute, that's kind of slow. That's basically 1 beat every second, a little faster than that. But if I want to play another song that is 100 beats a minute, I have to find a way to match those. I can't just play them on top of each other. It would just sound like noise. So I have to look and see, well, 65 and 100, that's a large way to go. So I have to find other ways to kind of work up to that BPM, that higher speed. Or I have to also understand that 65 and 130 are basically the same. The only difference is, because 65 is half of 130, right? 65 plus 65 is 130, right? Basically, that means that one of them is going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so you guys over here, I need you to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Count so everybody hear you. 1, 2. And because I'm going at, keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're going, so say they're at 65, right? 1, 2, 130 goes double that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So you see how they double up, but they still lock in place. The only difference is when they're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have to understand and know very quickly in my mind how these two different numbers, and not just 65 and 130, but all these different BPMs that all these different songs, because remember I have 45,000 songs in my laptop, right? I have to know how all these different songs and their BPMs can work together so I can have 4 hours of music that is as seamless as possible. Seamless means it kind of locks in. Like on our pants, we have seams, so you don't see your leg. That's the seam. Basically, it keeps the pants locked together. Different parts of the pants locked together. Because if the music doesn't stop, that means people don't want to stop dancing. And if people don't stop dancing, that means I did my job well and I get paid. And I get to keep my job. All right? So that's how math is important. Science is very important because as a recording engineer, part of my job is to be able to look at sound waves. Now we hear sound waves. We don't really see sound waves, but sound waves can be visualized, which means they can be turned into things.
Speakers, it is time to move to your next session. Speakers, it is time to wrap up and go to session 2. Thank you.
That means that they can be turned into things that we can see. So I have to have my science skills to help me understand what sound waves look like and what I'm looking at when I look at a sound wave, all right? When we talk about reading and writing, in my laptop, I have my 45,000 songs, right? I have my 45,000 songs on my laptop, but in order to find them, I have to be able to type the titles of them and read all the different search results. So I have to be able to read and write, or in my case, type. So if I type a title of a song wrong, I won't be able to find it. So my reading and writing skills have to be very, very good for me to type and read very quickly so I can grab all these different songs I want to use. And lastly, social studies. Because my job allows me to travel, I have to be aware of how different parts of the country and eventually different parts of the world, what type of music they like, what kind of rules they have, what kind of weather is there. So if I go somewhere where it's nice in Columbus, but if I go somewhere where it's super cold, I don't want to wear a t-shirt, right? I want to be able to have a coat, so I'm healthy. So social studies means I have to understand where different things are around the globe and around the country. So when I make travel plans, I know what I need to pack, how long I'm going to be there, what to travel, if I'm going to be in a car, in a train, on a boat, all those different things. Excuse me? I wish. I'm not there yet, but one day we'll be on a helicopter together, and we can talk about this day when you put it in the air that I'll be on a helicopter. All right? So all these things that I'm learning, I was learning in 3rd grade, and learned all the way until college, because I went to college, these are things that are important. So someday, if you haven't already said it, you're going to say, why do I have to know this stuff? Why is it important? I just gave you different examples on how in my different jobs, these 4 basic things that you guys learn about every day are important. All right? I wish we had more time so I could answer questions. I'm sorry we ran out of time, but thank you so much for having me, and I hope you guys learned a little something. Yes, no?
Yes, absolutely.
And we had a list that they gave all the speakers, and some of the things I didn't get to talk about on that list are guys and girls can be disc jockeys. So it's not just for guys, it's not just for girls. Anybody who enjoys music, enjoys performing for people, all those things. So anybody can be a DJ. Once again, thank you guys, and maybe next time we'll get more time to share.
Are there special DJ schools you can go to, or is this just...
There are different schools around the country, well, actually around the world, that offer kind of like DJ lessons and classes. I happen to go to a school where the guy who was the main DJ on campus, he and I just became friends. So I didn't start DJing until I was almost 19. Well, I had just turned 19. My sophomore year, my 2nd year of college, right at the beginning is when I started learning how to DJ. And because I was always involved in music from when I was in 1st grade, I was involved in music. I used to play drums and different things. So music was always natural for me. So once I started to learn how to DJ, I was able to do gigs within 3 months, which wasn't why I ever got into it. But so basically since 1997, before anybody in this room, except for teachers and myself, were born, I was DJing. So I've been DJing for almost 20 years. Been a producer since 2000, and I've had my own studio since 2002. So I've been doing different things for different amount of times. But all of them have been for a long time.